Hi everybody, Harris here with iDownload Blog. Today we're taking a look at the iPad mini 7th generation. This is the upgrade to the previous 6th generation iPad mini, which saw a huge design refresh, although this iPad mini is almost identical except for the faster A17 Pro processor and a couple other changes. But basically this is built for Apple Intelligence, or Apple's version of AI. Now, unfortunately, a lot of those features are not quite ready, but they will be increasingly with software updates going forward. So inside the packaging with this iPad, you get the iPad itself, of course, and then you also do get a charging brick as well as a nice braided USB-C to USB-C cable for charging or transferring data or connecting it to a variety of different accessories and peripheries, which we'll talk about in this video. Booting up the iPad, it's pretty much the same experience as any other device, and if you have a nearby phone or another iPad, you can make the setup process very simple and automatically sign into your account. So in this video, we're going to talk about hardware, software, and accessories, and of course, Apple Intelligence. Let's go ahead and do a quick run through of the hardware. So like I said, this is nearly identical to the previous iPad minis. Here I do have the purple color, and you can see it does have that kind of nice grainy aluminum finish and texture if you shine it into a light, but otherwise it's not a super remarkable color. And then I'll just compare it to the silver that I had from the previous iPad mini, and you can see what these two colors look like. You do have a 12 megapixel camera on the back with flash. On the side, you have your magnet, which is used if you do get an Apple Pencil. And if you buy the Apple Pencil Pro, it will automatically charge and connect with that magnet, which is really nice. Up top, you have your fingerprint scanner. This is Touch ID, and you can add multiple fingerprints in here. If you press this button once, it locks it. And if you press it again, it unlocks it. You can also hold it down to get into the new Siri mode. And then you have your volume buttons up top. Now, these volume buttons I don't really like because they rotate with your iPad, which is not how the iPhone works and not how the old iPads work. So generally speaking, it's the leftmost button, which is down, and the rightmost button, which is up, or the bottom button, which is down, and the top button, which is up. So if you rotate it upside down, it's actually going to be the right button for up, as you can see, and the left button for down. But if you rotate it correctly, the left button is down and the right button is up. So it's the opposite. So I don't really like that, but that's how it works. If you do rotate your iPad, the buttons will change with it. And then you do have your center stage camera up top, which you can see, which is pretty much unchanged from last year. And the bottom, you can see some speaker cutouts as well as your USB-C charging port, which can also connect to a variety of accessories, which we'll get into later. This does not have Thunderbolt 4 support like the iPad Pro M4 and other devices, but it still is very powerful with USB-C for charging data and accessories. So taking a look at the iPad itself, there are a few new changes and options in your home screen. First, you can now rearrange your icons wherever you want them. So if you tap and hold and drag it around, you can actually leave it anywhere on your home screen. It does not have to be touching another app. And you can do the same thing with widgets. So you tap and hold, and you click Edit, and you click Add Widget. You can now add a widget anywhere you want within the grid on your home screen. And if you go back into edit mode, you can actually expand the size of the widget right from your home screen, which is really nice. Now also, if you tap and hold and click Edit, you have a few options. So if you click Customize, you can choose between small and large icons, which will also remove the text if you go to large. So I'll show you what that looks like on a different page. Do Customize, and we do large, and you can see it gets rid of the text and makes the icons a little bit larger, which is nice to see. Then you also have the options of dark mode, automatic light and dark mode, or tinted, which will make every app a color tint of your choice. I personally don't like this, but if you do, you can mess around with it. On the top right-hand corner of your iPad is Control Center. So you can swipe down to get to quick controls, and this is very handy. For one, it allows you to power down your device. So if you tap this, it'll give you options for shutting down your iPad. Then you have pages on the right-hand side, which you can swipe between different settings panels. So the second one by default is Music, and then Home if you have any home devices. And then you have a connection screen, which is going to have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, AirDrop, and cellular if you have that on, as well as VPN. And then you basically have the same controls that you would see on your iPhone if you have an iPhone. So you have Wi-Fi, you can turn that on or off, or you can hold it and you can get into more settings. And the same goes for any of these toggles. If you hold it, it will launch more settings. So for instance, this focus mode, if you tap and hold, it gives you the option for reduce interruptions, which is a new toggle and a new setting for iOS 18 and iPadOS 18, which will try to intelligently reduce notifications while allowing important ones through. And any of these, if you want to customize, you click settings, and it gives you a bunch of options to allow specific people to get through, specific apps to get through, and you can even choose which home screen and which widgets you see when you have this do not disturb mode active, which is a really neat feature. And if you want to customize any of these, you tap and hold, and then you can click add a control. So if there's anything that you use a lot, you can just add this, and it's very handy. One that I really enjoy is the Apple TV remote, which allows you to turn on and start using an Apple TV and controlling it directly from your iPad. So if you lose the remote or it's far from you, you can control it still with this. You can see right here is a voice memo toggle. So if you click this, it'll actually start recording a voice memo. And I want to go into that because voice memos does have some new features. So if you tap the little microphone icon up top, which tells you that your device is recording audio, you can go into it. I'll go ahead and pause it. And you can see it will give you a live transcription. So here is everything that I just said, in theory at least, and you can play back. And if you click the control toggle, you can actually control your playback speed and skip silences and enhance recording as well. So this is a really powerful new transcription tool. If you ever go to a conference or you just are trying to record thoughts, this will give you a transcription, and it also gives you an option to search. So I'll just put collect. And you can see here, it actually incorrectly transcribed when I said select, but it said collect. Maybe that was my fault, but you can see it's a very powerful feature with voice memos. And then quickly, other ways to get around your iPad. You can tap to unlock your screen, use your fingerprint to go to your home screen. If you want to see your recent applications, you swipe up and hold, and you can see all your recent apps. Or you can swipe back and forth on the bottom to switch between recent apps very quickly. Your notification center is accessed by swiping down like this. Control center, like I showed you, swiping down from the right corner. And if you swipe to the left, you get a kind of quick widget view, which will give you different settings that if you tap and hold and click edit, you can customize that as well. And then if you're in an application, you can tap the three dots up top and you can go into split view with another application just like that. And you can adjust it to whatever proportion you want. Or you can have an app open just on the side like this, and you can swipe it away or back. So when you get this iPad, it might be running iOS 18.0, in which case you would need to upgrade it to iOS 18.1, which will begin the Apple Intelligence compatibility. Now, right now, there are several features missing, which will be coming later, such as ChatGPT integration, image generation, image playground, and Genmoji. So there's a lot of features missing right now, but there's several that I can show you, which includes reduce interruptions, which I showed you earlier. In Photos, there is now a new editing and cleanup feature. So if I go into an image and click the three little toggles at the bottom, and then I click cleanup, it will give me the option to basically highlight whatever I want to take out or clean up, and it will remove it. So I did this earlier with this image here, and basically I just tried to take out the screen so you can see what it looks like before with the screen, and then I kind of scribbled over it and it took it away. So you can see just like that. It's not perfect, and if you zoom in, you can see this is kind of wonky right here. So I'll show you the before and after. Let's say I want to take out this poll. Let's try this. I will highlight it, and it's gone. So you can see before and after. Now, one of the Apple Intelligence features is notification summaries, which I've found on my iPhone to sometimes be helpful and sometimes to be not helpful at all. Anyway, when you set this up, you can see you have options for what you want to have summarized and what you don't want. You can always customize that later. I'm just going to say summarize all notifications. Then you have options for Siri. So it'll be a new full screen design and layout when you use Siri, and has more information and can just generally do more. You can see if you hold down the power button up top, it'll give you the new Siri animation with the colorful ring around the perimeter of your display, which is pretty cool. And then if you double tap the little bar at the bottom of your screen, you can do type to Siri. So if you don't want to talk, you can say set alarm 8 p.m. Click return. And you can see it'll do that. So in Mail now, if you tap your screen, you can click writing tools and it'll give you several options. So you can do proofread and it will look for any typos. You can see it says one change and it did that for me to underline the U and correct that spelling. So I'll click done. Or if I wanted to rewrite, it'll rewrite for me. If I wanted to turn something into a list or a summary, I can do that. So if I had a whole recipe, it could turn it into a list. Or if I had a bunch of data, it could turn it into a table. Or a long paragraph, it could turn it into a brief summary. So you have all these different options here, and you can use these in almost any application. So it could be mail, it could be notes. There's a lot of different things that you could use it for. So for instance, I had this long note of things to pack. If I click the little Apple Intelligence button, I can turn it into a table. Let's just see how it does that. You can see just like that, it turned it into a table of things parents need to send, clothes, bedding, camera gear, and more. So that's pretty cool. And I did that all absolutely automatically. And then I'll click back and it will undo that. So that's pretty impressive. Now, since yesterday, I actually downloaded iOS 18.2 beta, which does give me access to several of the Apple Intelligence features that I initially didn't have. So when iOS 18.2 comes out, or if you do the developer or public beta when that is available as well, you can download iOS 18.2 and get several of those features. And if you go into Apple Intelligence and Siri, you can see those, including signing up for ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT will basically integrate this service directly into your iPad with Siri, so you don't have to launch a separate application. So you can ask much more advanced things if you have this turned on. For instance, I could say, give me 10 date ideas for Pasadena, California. Now, Siri would have no idea how to do that, so I can use ChatGPT. It's going to send that data to ChatGPT, and it's going to come back with 10 ideas. Messages has also received several really handy new features, and I have this split screen just to kind of protect my side conversations and privacy there, but you can see you have different formatting options. So if you click this little button in the right-hand corner, you can do strike through, underline, italic, and bold for any words or whole sentences and paragraphs. So you can see that is a really handy feature. And now one thing that I love is actually send later. So if you click the plus and then send later, you can choose a date and then you click the send button. It'll send it to the server, but it won't actually deliver until a specific time. So you can see right there, this will send tomorrow at 9 a.m. and they won't get it till exactly 9 a.m., which is a really handy feature. And I've already used this many times. It's great. Now I want to talk about hardware. So in terms of cases, this is not a sponsored episode, but I definitely love a slim magnetic folio. Now Apple does, of course, make a folio case for the iPad mini, which is great, and it fits like a glove, but it's a little expensive, so I usually go for a third-party option. So you can see this one here fits very well, but the thing that I particularly like about third-party options is that they can include a flap, which if you use an Apple Pencil, I think is absolutely essential because it just keeps your Apple Pencil locked in. So I love folio cases like this that magnetically attach, can give you a stand, and then lock in the Apple Pencil. So I'll leave a link down in the description if you want to check out this case. And then let's go ahead and talk about pencils. So of course this does support the Apple Pencil Pro. So that is one upgrade over the previous iPad, and it does have a few handy features such as haptic feedback, which means that if you squeeze on it, you can actually feel a little bit of a vibration inside, a little bit of a motor. It also means that when you're drawing, you can get different feedback. So for instance, if I were to draw a shape, I can actually feel the little vibration inside the pencil when it snaps to that shape. It also allows me to squeeze to switch modes. It also features Find My support in the Find My app, which is nice, but not all that useful because if you leave it somewhere really far behind and it moves, you're not going to be able to locate it. It really just shows your last location, or if you're very close to the pencil, but not if you're very far and it has moved. Now, unfortunately, this does not seem to support the Apple Pencil 2nd generation. So if you are coming from that with a previous iPad, you will have to buy a new one. The old one doesn't even fit with the magnets. They've realigned the magnets on this iPad so that the previous pencil doesn't work, which is a little bit frustrating. Now, if you want to do something around $80, you can get the Apple Pencil with USB-C, which still connects magnetically, which is a decent option. Now, if you want to save a little bit of money and still get a pretty solid option, the Logitech Crayon can help you with that. It works very, very well. It does not have a magnet, but it can charge with USB-C. So this is a really solid option. And if you want to go even cheaper, you can get ones that do attach magnetically, but charge via USB-C. And these work very well too. They don't have any bells and whistles, but they just work. But they still work very well if you want to save something like $100. So I'll leave some of these third-party options down below. And you'll especially want a case with the magnetic flap like I showed you, because Apple changed the magnets on the iPad, which means a lot of the previous Styli options are not going to fit as snug on your iPad. You can see it still does hold, but it moves around a little bit, whereas on the previous iPad, it would snap much more secure on your iPad with less wiggling. So Apple has been kind of annoying with that change to make all the old magnetic options no longer fit as well. So you're going to want that magnetic sleeve to keep it locked in. Now, a couple features in the Notes app, which is really, really handy, is improved handwriting readability, which will basically automatically clean up your handwriting, which is just an excellent feature. So I'll turn that on, as well as a couple new gestures. So you can scratch through your text and delete it, or you can make space and actually add space in between handwritten text just with a gesture. So you can see here, I have a test of the handwriting feature and it works really well. So I'll go back in, and if you want to add space in between your text, you tap and hold, and then you can actually drag your text out, which works pretty well, and it moves everything, which is kind of crazy. And if you wanted to get rid of something, you scribble it and hold, and it will delete it. So you can see it automatically adjusted a lot of my handwriting. But then if I select the text, and then tap, and click straighten, it'll actually straighten out my handwriting. So there's a lot of really neat features with the pencil and the Notes app. You also get integrated voice recordings. So you can see right here, I have a voice recording, and it can play it directly from the Notes app, which is really cool. Okay, now let's talk about USB-C. USB-C is a really handy feature because it allows you to connect almost anything to it. So if you wanted to, for instance, connect a USB-C hard drive, you can do that. And you can take data from it, play things from it, or send data to this, which is great for transferring files. You can also connect a USB-C hub, such as this one I have right here, which plugs directly into it. And then you can connect anything via USB-C or headphone jack, SD card, micro SD card, USB-C for charging, or HDMI to connect to a monitor. You can do any of those things. You can also connect a USB-C hub such as this one, which has Ethernet, and you can get any combination, and pretty much any USB-C hub will work for you, so you can connect almost anything you want. You could even connect a USB-C microphone, such as this Shure microphone, which has USB-C support. You can actually plug it in and use it as a mic, which is just a really, really handy feature. And lastly, you can charge small devices from your iPad, including your iPhone. Now I can show you right here. I can actually connect my Apple Watch and it will charge, which is just a sweet feature. Or if you have a Garmin watch or any small accessory, you can charge it and just donate some power from your iPad, which I think is awesome. And then you can also connect any Bluetooth mouse or keyboard to your iPad just as you would a computer. And then you can use that to control your iPad, which is just really great. So if I go into Bluetooth here and put my mouse into pairing mode, I can see this mouse right here. I click pair. And you can see just like that, I do now have a mouse that I can use with my iPad. So that's about all I have for this iPad mini tips and tricks video. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.